Hello YouTube, welcome to part 12 of Vulcan Tour. We're gonna do this quiz. And yes, I'm recording this a day before it's released. A day before this video is made public. Or premiered, I should say. Here's Man Computer Insights 1. What have we here? Why, it's Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer. It's what's known as an SoC, which stands for System on a Chip. The single chip has all sorts of capabilities. It acts as both the CPU and GPU, handles video and sound, extracts compressed data, shows images on a screen, and interacts with main memory and system memory. All in all, it's a very important chip. Within the Nintendo Switch 2's console main computer, there's a part called the Central Processing Unit, or CPU for short. It calculates how characters move and handles scenic transitions. In short, various calculations are performed in the CPU. Nintendo Switch 2 console CPU is several times faster than the CPU in the Nintendo Switch console. The faster the CPU is, the better it is at displaying lots of characters on the screen. And the better it is at handling more complex motion. So checking something. The GPU. Within a Switch 2 console's main computer, you'll find the GPU. That's the graphics processing unit. Its main purpose is to perform calculations for generating images on screen. The Switch 2 console's GPU is several times faster than the GPU in the Nintendo Switch console. The faster the GPU is, the better it gets at generating more complex and detailed images. Note, this video is purely for reference. Also, the GPU is where machine learning and ray tracing calculations take place. Alright. Well then, this is the point where I give you a quiz. Do you want to take it? SoC. GPU. Dang it, CPU and then GPU, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a CPU. A sharper, more detailed picture. By using Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, sharper, more detailed images can be produced. This process is called Super Resolution. In games that support Super Resolution, the computer performs machine learning calculations and predicts what kind of detailed picture it should generate. This results in a clear, more detailed picture. Inside the GPU of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, there's a place for performing machine learning calculations. This place contains what are called tensor cores. Using certain fixed patterns, tensor cores can perform quick multiplication and addition incredibly quick. These operations are used to perform machine learning calculations. There are plenty of things that can be done with machine learning calculations. For example, you can make a game's images clearer and more detailed. Or you can erase everything except the person from a camera's video feed. The GPU has a place for machine learning calculations. It can perform multiplication and addition with incredible speed. Inside the GPU of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, there's a place that calculates ray tracing, which is a technique for generating images. This place contains what are called RT cores. RT cores can calculate whether or not there's light hitting polygons, and they do this incredibly quickly. In games that use ray tracing, these calculations can be used to simulate light reflections and make images look more realistic. The GPU has a place for ray tracing calculations. It simulates light reflections. Three questions. It is a super resolution. Machine learning calculations. Light reflections. What are we missing? Only one. No quizzes down there. Right. Let's say the next... Well, let's do the quiz now. As electronic devices run, their parts tend to heat up. They can get particularly hot when performing fast calculations, during rapid communication, or when running while being charged. In extreme cases, some devices can even get hot to touch. And that's not the only problem. If the parts are too hot, the device itself may fail to work properly. Some parts could even break completely. When designing the Switch 2 console, we tried to ensure that this didn't happen. Doesn't happen. The console cools down parts in different ways to prevent them from getting too hot. The Switch 2 console does its best to keep from heating up. One way it does this is with a built-in fan. The fan funnels air into the console and blows it at different parts. The hot air is then pushed out to keep things cool. The fan isn't always running though. First it uses a temperature sensor to check how hot the console is. If it's hot, the fan runs at a high speed, but if it's too hot, it only spins a little bit. At low speeds, the fan will be so quiet you can barely hear it. Try putting your ear up to a fan and listening for yourself. The Switch 2 console contains a circuit board. The components on the circuit board generate heat. This means they need to be cooled down. To do this, air flows over both top and bottom of the circuit board. Both sides are directly connected to the air intake. The fan draws in air, ventilating both the top and bottom of the circuit board, and so the components on both sides of the circuit board can be cooled. Easy airflow. To cool the Nintendo Switch 2 console with air, the airflow needs to be as smooth as possible. With good airflow, the fan doesn't have to push itself to high speeds. There are air intakes on the bottom of the console to let air straight in. Yeah, with that. At the air vent, the air comes straight out unobstructed. Combined with the fact that the fan is also more powerful, this means that the Switch 2 console is roughly twice as the airflow of the Nintendo Switch console. Since you've read all the insights here, that means it's quiz time! Hey, dissipation! Which means there's more quizzes! Volume 1. What happens to electronic devices as they run? They get hot. A fan. Both top and bottom. Twice as much. That's the ones we're missing, is the fan. You can learn more about the Switch 2 console heat dissipation methods here. You'll find out about parts that are sensitive to heat, how heat is transferred, and more. Penny for your thoughts? Heat sensitive. One thing about Nintendo Switch 2's console system memory is that it's acceptable to heat. The system's memory should be kept as cool as possible. That's why it's been positioned close to one of the air intakes. On top of that, We also made sure that it wasn't near other parts that heat up. And there's one last thing. Because the wiring in the console is made of copper, it conducts heat easily. So we gave the system memory its own spot away from any wiring. This reduces the transferred heat, and as a result the system memory is protected from heat. Heat is spread evenly. Inside a Switch 2 console, it's normal for parts to get hot, but some parts won't cool down easily even if you supply air to them. We use a couple of materials to solve this, the first being graphite sheets, and the second being a substance called thermal grease. Both graphite and thermal grease are good at conducting heat. By using these materials, heat is evenly distributed, so that the heat's acceptable parts only become a little warm instead, because a lot of air gets to these warmer parts. The console can be more easily cooled. Graphite sheets have been attached to plastic on the back of the console, as well as to other parts, such as the micro SD card slot. The thermal grease meanwhile is used for the main computer. Distributing the heat allows the console to be cooled more easily. Graphite sheets and thermal grease help to achieve this. Yay! Transferring heat. Do you know which part of the Switch 2 console produces the most heat? It's the main computer known as the SoC. Obvious heat from the system on a chip needs somewhere to go, which is where the heat pipe comes in. Its purpose is to carry the heat to the air vent. The inside of the heat pipe is a vacuum. It also contains a little bit of water, so it's liquid cooled. This water gets heated by the SoC, turns into steam and moves towards the cooler side. Then when it reaches the air vent, it turns back to water and returns to the SoC through a process called capillary action. This carries on over and over, transporting heat to the vent. This way, even the part of the console that generates the most heat gets cooled down. The heat pipe transports heat to the air vent. Water moves around inside the heat pipe, which means it's probably water cooled. Here's a quiz for your efforts. Try it out. Question number 1. Metal wool was added? Heat absorption. Thermal grease. Yeah, of course, the first one. Wiring, that's it. Thermal and a small amount of water. Yo! Yeah, I do. Right, we're done with this. What a quizzes. Alright everyone, I see you all in my next video. Bye.